Hi, it's Joy and today I'm going to be watching The Clone Wars Season 1, Episode 13, Jedi Crash, which does not sound good. I am loving this show and I just can't wait to watch more. There's no need for me to do a long intro. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon, and you can also get the edited version 1 week early, unedited version 2 weeks in advance, and there are currently 3 episodes a week. That is going to go to 2 episodes a week when Season 2 starts, just because there are more shows coming back and airing, and I don't have all the time in the world, but it's still 2 episodes a week. I'm loving this show, let's go. I mean, you put Anakin pretty much there. Oh dear, they're always outnumbered. The super droids? No thank you.
Master, are you sure that's the wisest thing?
Oh god. Anakin!
There are still hundreds of droids on board.
As if they care. Yeah. No, poor Roger. That is the difference here. They couldn't care less about how many droids die along the way, whereas we want to protect our lives. As much as the clones are built and, you know, churned out just to be soldiers, we still want them to live, and especially the Jedi don't view them as, well, our Jedi at least, don't view them as dispensable.
Hold it.
Haha! Oh god, run! Run! Anakin! No, I know he survives. He's okay thanks to Ahsoka.
We have to leave now. Are all Jedi so reckless? Just the good ones.
Very true. It's actually so weird with this show because obviously Anakin at this stage, I love him, I root for him. Oh god. Jedi Crash. Oh god. Especially with Anakin being injured. But whatever, sir. Pause it actually before I get dragged into something else. It's so fascinating way with this show because obviously at this point, Anakin is a character we care about, we root for. He's still a good person. There is the darkness in him, but he still at this point could choose the light. You know, there's still a lot of things. But it's really weird. I was just thinking about how, like, any episode along the way, were Anakin to die, how different and how much potentially less pain there would be in the Star Wars universe. We also wouldn't have Luke and Leia, so it would be sad because I don't believe they've been conceived yet. But it's just really weird to kind of think about this show that we're rooting for Anakin to survive, knowing full well he's going to turn into, like, Hitler-esque figure. Okay, Hitler's maybe one of Hitler's minions-esque figure, which is just really weird.
Well, we're headed right for a star.
Oh my god! Things are getting better and better! Oh god. Whew.
Mr. Skywalker is still alive.
I'm just glad he wasn't awake to see that landing.
Ahsoka.
Being proud.
He would.
Sir, I can't leave him.
You can,
I know
sweetie.
if I was hurt, he'd never leave me behind.
I know this is hard. Anakin has to stay behind, and we have to go now.
It's not leaving him behind. You're going to look for help for him. He would do that for you.
I get so confused sometimes. It's forbidden for Jedi to form attachments, yet we are supposed to be compassionate.
It is nothing to be ashamed of us.
You?
He was like a father to me. I realized that for the greater good, I had to let him go. Don't lose 1,000 lives just to save one.
Maybe.
Okay, look, Jedi. You need to learn to, like, you can have attachments, but you just need to trust that you are a good enough person to do the right thing. You know, anyone would be in that situation. Like, you know, if I could press, if there was a way that I could do something and it would save my family and friends, or I could save the entire world, I would like to think I would be strong enough to choose the greater world. But I think if you don't have any attachments to anyone, then you're going to become a far more... That probably explains a hell of a lot of the problems the Jedi face, because they don't have those bonds with people. They don't truly have the care. I mean, obviously they care because they're compassionate, but I think Star Wars needs to calm down with this whole no attachment thing.
But that doesn't mean that I can't try to save his life.
Exactly. When it came down to it, she did put the group first because she turned off the life support. Calm down. People can have attachments and still be good people. And yeah, yeah, some of them will be bad, but some Jedi will be bad anyway. Knock knock. Anyone home?
Signs of life.
Intelligent enough to figure out a use for the pods, let's drag them away.
Oh.
All we have to do is follow the trail. Let's go.
Okay, no, they weren't dropped on them. I thought that was like, go away, trespassers.
General,
Oh god.
are you
Don't-
alright?
Behind you. Yeah, see, if you, sweetheart, had just stood guard at the front of the tent, this would not be happening. Ten out of 10, my loves. Oh goodness. Oh my god. These poor goons. To their civilization or a shrine to the pods? Or people?
Pod Central. You made it. Please, can you at least give us some medical supplies? My friend is dying.
I cannot ignore a plea for help. I will send my son, Wag too, to help your friend.
Please survive, son. I love meeting different cultures and people. Oh my god, yes. Roll away.
Destroy everything in your path.
True.
You lay your arms down and pursue a
But
course of non-violence.
do you really think Grievous or any of them would accept that and would do that? Really? That's such a, like, I agree with him in an ideal world, but in the real universe.
We must fight.
Well then get your lightsaber out, sweetheart. One down. Oh my god. Well, that was good timing. They've developed methods.
If I'd stayed with Anakin, we probably wouldn't have found this village in time to save him. At least this whole ordeal is over now.
Your attachment to Anakin isn't the problem there, though. It's kind of the way you view your attachment and how it makes, like, staying with Anakin is the thing that you want to do because you care about someone, but at his side you could have done nothing. Going and looking for help for him is actually the best way to serve the attachment. So that argument of that being right, that attachments are wrong, doesn't work.
We still have to find a way off this planet.
Yeah. That was another good episode. A lot of tense. I loved the space fight and then the kind of how different the two halves of the episode felt. So again, we jumped straight into the middle of another battle. Yet again, the Republic forces are being overwhelmed and everything is lost. They actually kind of lost this time, at least for our characters. They had to flee by accident because the thingy Anakin is hurt. And like I commented during the reaction, this show really do you have the point of, at this point, how much better could it be for the galaxy if Anakin were to just die? Obviously at this point I don't want him to die. You know, in my imagination I can decide that in the Clone Wars Season 7 the show decides that it's doing an alternate universe and Anakin stays good. You know, I doubt that's what happens. But, you know, kind of like there are, at this point, the person Anakin is good, but would it be good better for the world if he died? I think the village have an interesting point in their time. Yes, it's always better to have peace, to come to the table and have peace. And maybe they could have done, but no, because the thing, like, obviously we know what happens at the end of all of this, but from their point of view, if they'd have tried to have talks, like really, if someone were to say, oh, we're gonna come and like, just how could you have talks with the Separatists? The Separatists were hardly gonna be like, oh, you know, yeah, this is... If they had reasonable demands, the Jedi, like Yoda, etc., would have talked to them. I don't obviously know about Palpatine, but, you know, kind of, they would have if it was just, oh, we're being unfairly taxed. They probably would have, you know, done their best. But when you're being attacked and attacked and attacked, it's hard to just be like, stop. While you're shooting at me, here is a peace treaty. You know, it doesn't work that way. But also, I can understand him wanting to keep his people out of it because they have nothing to do with it. But we've seen along the way that civilizations that had nothing to do with it getting drawn into all the fighting and getting kind of slaughtered and losing their homes as a result. So I totally understand, and I really hope that that little village of pod people gets to survive because they should just get to be peaceful. And when it came down to it, they did help. They, you know, couldn't ignore a plea for help, and so that shows you again how honourable they are, because if right now Separatists arrive, they could start attacking, etc., because they've given help to the enemy, but they did it anyway. Seeing another planet is always great. Kind of seeing that these people are safe from the sounds of it. It seems like they are refugees of a sense, that they fled elsewhere and have come here. And they don't even kill the beasts. Even then, they just subdue them. Which I suppose they came and took over the beasts' home, so fair enough. The more clones died along the way. Very tragic. I have so many issues, and I have done ever since I watched the movies of Star Wars, and then when it came up again in The Mandalorian. The idea that if a Jedi has a strong attachment, that's bad. And it's kind of like, I can understand, because obviously Anakin is a case of that. And I know that, spoilers for Mandalorian, in Mandalorian, Ahsoka was like, I can't train the baby because he has an attachment to you, and that reminds me of my master, who, it was, you know, Darth Vader. So I can understand why, like, yeah, having strong attachments to people, you know, it's that old saying of, you know, love makes you weak. I mean, it makes you strong, hell of strong, but it makes you weak in the sense that there are things that people can use against you. It makes you scared to lose people, but caring about people doesn't make you evil. Yes, it makes it hard. The hard choice is, do you kind of run away from the fight and save your friend, or do you go into the fight and say, like, that is a decision you have to make on a daily basis. But it's just, it makes no sense to tell people to have no attachments, because if people are caring and compassionate, they're going to form attachments. And so, you know, if you're, like, the Jedi have to constantly be like, oh, well, I've been working with this clone troop for, like, a couple of weeks now. I've started to care about them. I'm going to move. It makes no sense. If you are a good, caring person, you are going to form attachments. If you're a person, you're going to form attachments. But especially if you're a good person. So I think, like, they need to be more... What the Jedi should have done with their lives is, instead of telling their Padawans, don't form attachments, as they're clearly going to be forming attachments, and even the concept of having a Padawan and a master is forming an attachment, what they should have done was teach them how to deal with their attachments, in the sense of how to put the good first. Taught them through situations where, you know, you have good and you... Where, like... I don't like that. The concept that some people think Baby Yoda could go evil because he has an attachment is so stupid. And, like, if the show were to do that, I would just think that's so stupid. Because it's all individual choices. It's how things come... It's what you do in that moment. And, yeah, there would be Jedi that made the wrong choice, but you can't force Jedi to live a life alone for no good reason. Because it isn't a good reason. I'm okay. I don't feel like I'm articulating this very well, but I feel very strongly about it, that is just a concept that makes no sense. Because I think that... I can't remember her name, but the Jedi we met this episode would be stronger with a man she loved as her father by her side. Ahsoka, and again, Ahsoka, her whole thing with her attachment in this episode, the time in which the attachment came up was when she didn't want to turn off the power, because that would turn off Anakin's life support and might kill him. But when it came down to it, was she going to let everybody die, or, like, obviously she was going to turn it off, but that was the moment where it was Anakin or us, you know, and she picked us, she picked the group. Choosing to sit by his bedside waiting for him to wake up, there was nothing she could have done. It's human nature, it's person nature to want to be with your loved one when they're suffering, with someone you care about when they're suffering in pain, and what if they need something, what if there's an attack. But to be honest, if I was in that situation and someone said to me, well, look, you can sit here while he dies, or you can go and try and find help, going and trying to find help is still the right thing to do for the person you have the attachment to. So they've yet to convince me of this argument that if you care about someone, you become evil. Because in that case, surely Luke should have gone evil, because he loved his sister, he had a best friend. You know, I know Luke had some issues along his life. If you look at the sequels, which I don't like how miserable they made their lives in the sequels, but anyway, you know, of course Jedi are going to have attachments, and they're not a bad thing. It's just you have to teach them to deal with that. And to be honest, any single person who's in that kind of a role, like a law enforcement role or an EMT role or anything like that, needs to know that if like an earthquake hits, you can't run to your home, you have to go elsewhere first. You have to do whatever is best for everyone. So yeah, that's yet to convince me. But that being said, I really did enjoy this episode. I'm enjoying Ahsoka, kind of watching as she grows. She's still, pardon me, she's still very much a child, a teenager. Like, even her wanting to stay with Anakin, I want to stay with Anakin, I want to stay with Anakin, when there's nothing you can do for him right now. You know, if she was staying with him and she was the only thing keeping him alive, makes sense. But we're growing that. I love meeting more Jedi. I love just exploring new cultures and new planets. And I have no idea how they're going to get off of this planet in the next episode. please let the people stay safe. So a reminder that you can find the unedited version of this on my Patreon, and you do get that 2 weeks in advance. I can get the edited version 1 week in advance as well, and thank you so much for watching.